Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of NEC Men's Basketball on the Run. I'm your host Kyle Turner. Alongside me is Ron Ratner. Ron, Robert Morris is atop the standings at 7-1. Let's go into your weekend takeaways.
That's right, Kyle. The biggest takeaway is Robert Morris continues on their roll. Colonials were picked 5th in the NEC preseason poll, but now, as you said, they're 7-1, and in this 8-game sample, they've been impressive to say the least. Heading into the halfway point of the NEC season, RMU up 2 games on the field, and they really show no signs of slowing down. They came off a 3-1 road trip, back to the North Athletic Complex last week, took care of business, picked up quality wins over both Sacred Heart and Wagner. Last week we talked about RMU's defensive prowess, but I think it's worth diving into even a little bit more this week. During their current 4-game win streak, the Colonials are allowing just 59.8 points per game and limiting opponents to 38.7% shooting from the floor. Here's another stat that jumps off the page. RMU has won 16 consecutive games dating back to the 2016-17 season when they've held their opponents to under 60 points. This year, they're 8-0 when teams fail to reach 60, and they've held 4 of their 8 NEC opponents under that number. Now, once you get past Robert Morris, it starts to get interesting. St. Francis Brooklyn, a team picked 7th by the NEC head coaches, they have second place all to themselves with a 5-3 record. Last week, the Terriers dropped a 2-point decision at FDU, came back 2 days later, they won by 7 at the Mount. We've talked a lot about Jalen Jordan and Glenn Sanabria the last 2 weeks and the star power they bring to the Terriers. But St. Francis Brooklyn saw a number of their role players step up recently into more prominent roles. For example, we take junior forward Dennis Chelin, who's been outstanding during league play. Last week he posted back-to-back double-doubles. Throw in lanky wing Rossell Hurley, who's a junior. Last week he averaged 17.5 points on 66.7% shooting, his best week of his career at St. Francis. Then you had freshman guard Stevan Krutinic, who had the best game of his career down at the Mount with 15 points and 7 boards. While Robert Morris has a 2-game lead over St. Francis Brooklyn, third place is a complete logjam. 6 teams currently tied at 4-4. And when you look at it, the teams that were picked 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the preseason coaches poll are all in that mix. Of the 6, I wanted to highlight Fairleigh Dickinson, which has now won 3 straight games to even their NEC record. And that record may even be deceiving because the Knights have lost all 4 of their conference games by 7 points or less, including a double overtime setback to Central and a 2-point loss at the hands of LIU Brooklyn. FDU's starting 5 is as good as it gets in this league, and when Biggs, Caleb Bishop, and Mike Holloway are bringing their A game, like they did this past Saturday at Bryant, when they combine for 36 points, they are a hard team to beat.
Okay, so there's a look at the standings. You have Robert Morris alone in 1st place, St. Francis Brooklyn in 2nd, and then all of those teams tied up at 4-4 in 3rd place. But let's shift focus, Ron. SFU escaped with a 1-point victory in Loretto. Tell me about your game of the week.
It was an exciting night at the Stokes Center on Saturday. Sacred Heart, SFU, 2 teams that can really score the basketball. Pioneers could do no wrong in the first half. They built a 42-28 lead, shot over 65% from the field. Check out this play. Jarrell Spellman, the NEC leader in blocks, with the rejection, then hustles up the floor and is on the receiving end of this dime from Cameron Parker, the NEC's leader in assists. The Pioneers still led by 10 with 5.5 minutes to play when SFU made its move. Isaiah Blackman, then Andre Wolford hit back-to-back 3-pointers. That cut the lead to 2 with 3:25 left on the clock. Flash finally took the lead on this amazing play. As a matter of fact, Kyle, let's call this one the NEC Play of the Week.
All right, run us through it.
Keith Braxton with the ball on the perimeter, drives, kicks it out, and then watch this ball movement. All 5 SFU players touch the ball before it gets back to Wolford, who's wide open, and you knew that one was going down. The Stokes Center crowd was on fire by this point, and when Keith Braxton scored on consecutive moves in the paint, The Red Flash were on their way to a 79-78 win. They survived a couple of late threes in the final 8 seconds, but hung on to improve to 4-4 on the year. It was a much-needed victory for the preseason favorites, and we'll see if they can keep that momentum going this Thursday when they take on league-leading Robert Morris in their Keystone State rivalry game.
So we talked about the Red Flash and the Pioneers. SFU takes a 79-78 win out in Loretto. We've reached the halfway point of the show. It's time to take our Twitter timeout.
This week's tweet is from RMU superfan and writer Chris Capella, and he notes, as many people did this week, Matty McConnell. It was a simple tweet, Matty McConnell making so many hustle plays. And there's one here that I wanted to show everyone. It's from RMU's win over Wagner on Saturday. And check out McConnell here. First, keeping the rebound alive, then hustling to tap the ball to his teammate. And it all ends up with a basket by Malik Petway. But it's those sort of winning plays that spell the difference in close games. And it's one of the reasons why Robert Morris is in first place at this juncture in the year. Local product, Matty McConnell, picking up his game, both offensively, defensively, and he's always one of the top hustlers in the conference.
All right, so Robert Morris is Matty McConnell, showing that just a little bit of hustle can go a long way for the Colonials. But now let's head out to Grimes Hill for your under-the-radar player this week.
Kyle, every star needs a number 2. Tony Soprano had Silvio. Wagner's been searching for that number 2 behind Ramon Saunders, and I think they found their guy in Elijah Davis, a senior guard forward. Here's a player that's really diversified his game this season. He can run the floor, finish in transition, and he uses his 215 pounds to his advantage. He can do damage on the block. He's improved dramatically from three-point range this season, and he knocks them down from the line at over 80% for his career. This year, Davis has his scoring up to 11.5 points a game. Last Thursday, matched a career high with 20 points in Wagner's 4-point win at SFU and hit 4 free throws in the last 21 seconds to seal things. I love Elijah's work rate on the court, and I'm looking forward to seeing his continued development this season for a Wagner team that, as always, has title aspirations.
Okay, Ron, from Staten Island, we go to Brooklyn for this week's Star Watch.
Kyle, this one was easy. Raekwon Clark from LIU, senior swingman. Sometimes I think his offensive production is taken for granted because he does it every single game. He's the NEC league leader in scoring all season long. No one is even close to his 21.7 points a game this year. He's even been better in conference play, boosting that number to 24 points per game. And of LIU's 8 conference games, he scored 20 or more in 7 of them, including 6 straight heading into play this week. Best part is he does it efficiently. Clark is shooting almost 54% from the field on the year and 56% against league rivals. What stands out the most about Clark is his nonstop motor. He will do anything to get to the hoop. Last week, 16 of his 18 field goals came on layups. He's such a tough one-on-one matchup for NEC defenders. LIU, right in the thick of things, tied for 3rd. If they're going to make a run at defending their title, their All-NEC performer, Raekwon Clark, will be front and center come March.
Okay, Ron, Raekwon Clark is on your Star Watch, but he also hit an NEC milestone last week. Tell me about that.
He did. He pulled down his 500th career rebound last Thursday, and now he joins St. Francis's Keith Braxton, Wagner's Ramon Saunders, and FDU's Mike Holloway as players in the 1,000-point, 500-rebound club for their careers. Congratulations to Raekwon. He's got plenty more rebounds, plenty more points ahead of him this season.
Okay, now we have everything out of the way. Wrap things up by giving us your games to watch.
We talked about it earlier, the Keystone State rivalry game. Robert Morris and SFU this Thursday night in Moon Township. The Flash have won 6 straight against the Colonials, and a 7th would go a long way in SFU's long-term hopes at finishing at or near the top of the NEC standings. St. Francis has scored 79 or more in 3 of its last 4 games. On the other hand, Robert Morris has held 2 of its last 3 opponents under 60. So we'll see which team can impose its will when they meet up in Moon Township this Thursday night at 7 o'clock on NEC Front Row.
So the Keystone State rivalry game is the game to watch, but NEC TV is also on the road this week. Where are we?
Yep, Kyle, it's a big week for NEC TV. First, we make our season debut on ESPNU this Thursday at 5 p.m. Fairleigh Dickinson, LIU, Brooklyn. Fairleigh Dickinson and LIU Brooklyn going at it one more time. We flash back to last year's NEC semifinals. LIU wins by 1 point in an instant classic. They met again 2 weeks ago. Again, Blackbirds come out on top by 2 points in a great game. FDU will be out for revenge in this one and look to extend its winning streak to 4 games. As soon as that game ends, we switch over to ESPN Plus, where Wagner will host Bryant at 7 p.m. Both teams are 4-4 and both looking to stay in the top 4 in the NEC standings. 2 days later, NEC TV heads down to Emmitsburg as the Mount takes on St. Francis U in a doubleheader to air on ESPN3. The Mount had over 3,000 fans for their game against St. Francis Brooklyn on Saturday, and there should be a good amount of SFU fans that make this trip. Keep your eye on the Mount's Vado Morse, who on Monday became just the 4th freshman in NEC history to win a Player of the Week award. He's also won the NEC Rookie of the Week award 4 of the last 5 weeks. This is a young Mount team loaded with talent, and they have a bright future ahead. Should be a good one against the Flash. Women tip at 1, men at 4 on ESPN3.
All right, Ron, thanks for giving us your game to watch and the games on TV. Lots going on for the NEC this week. Fans, don't forget, all other league games can be streamed live in HD and for free at NECFrontRow.com. That's it for this week's edition of NEC Men's Basketball on the Run. For NECFrontRow.com, I'm Kyle Turner, alongside Ron Ratner. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.